I know, it just popped up, didn't it?
What's happening? What's happening? Oh,
So here,
yeah,
I can pass out,
there you go.
just so you got it.
Want me to
on
pass the
there.
rest out?
Yeah,
Yes, you got it. Oops, sorry.
oh, sorry. Okay. Next up is item B5, an ordinance to amend the Bremerton Municipal Code, chapter 3.78, entitled Multifamily Tax Exemption. And I will be presenting. So, let me get my notes, please. So the state of Washington legislature has written and modified a bill numerous times for a multifamily tax exemption. Of course, they haven't funded it at all when we exempt these taxes. And we have, in our growth management needs, where we had to modify our zoning to meet the needs of the goal, where the city of Bremerton has to increase our population, or the goal is 46%. The UGA is 27%. The UGA for Bremerton. Silverdale, they have to increase 50%. Bainbridge Island, 18%. Kingston, 131%. Port Orchard, 67%. Port Orchard UGA, 23%. Polsbo, 38%. Central Kitsap UGA, 20%, and rural areas, 5%. So we all know it's more expensive to construct new buildings where you have to knock down an old building. And so developers are building apartment buildings like crazy out in Silverdale and in the more rural areas of Port Orchard, but it's much more expensive for builders to build within the city of Bremerton limits. So with that, the council had decided years ago that we should provide some incentives. So currently, the incentives were that you could get an 8-year tax exemption, and the only tax that you would have to pay is what the property itself's value was, the land. There's also a 12-year, currently, there's a 12-year exemption. And for that, there's a 20% requirement of affordable housing. Unfortunately, the affordable housing isn't based on what the city of Bremerton's median income is. HUD determines what it is, and they make that determination by adding together the average incomes of Bainbridge Island, the urban part of Silverdale, the urban part of Port Orchard, and the urban part of Bremerton. So it's more than 150% of what Bremerton's AMI is. Constituents, residents of the city have complained that the affordable units aren't affordable to people living in Bremerton. So our committee, which was Council President Younger, Denise Fry, and myself, met and had discussions, and we feel there's a compromise that can be made. It doesn't reach all of my goals, and I'm sure it doesn't meet all of President Younger's or Councilmember Fry's goals either, but it's a compromise that we all agreed on, and we hope that the rest of council agrees with us. And that is to no longer having the 12-year exemption, and there will be no modifications of adding on additional time like we currently have in place, and only have 8-year tax exemptions, period, and only for rentals. It won't be for properties, especially, well, it won't be for properties that are sold to high end and used as a marketing tool. So,
I don't even know what that means.
An
it
example,
means there's buildings that currently are getting an 8-year exemption that are for sale for almost $600,000. And they're using that as a marketing tool that you don't have to pay property tax for 8 years. So that's why we went to rentals only.
so the,
condos?
But
the
you're saying
condos are,
somebody built an apartment complex. Does this cover condos?
Their condo.
Not anymore. I mean, the proposal is only rentals.
But it could be, I know what you're getting at, the condos themselves could be rentals.
Okay, I'm sorry. Currently, can somebody build a condominium building and take advantage of
Yes.
the MFTE?
Yeah.
Yes,
So, but condos aren't rented at a monthly rental rate that would,
that's why we're modifying it.
condos are,
interesting.
but have any, okay,
We're
next
proposing.
question.
Yeah.
Have any condominium projects been built in the city of Bremerton that are using the
Yes.
MFTE?
Yes,
Which ones?
The mentor ones.
the ones right as you go over
The
the Warren
Claire.
Avenue Bridge,
Up at Claire,
the Claire. Those
the
big,
mentor family,
big
the mentor
brown ones.
property where the old sign was.
Do you mean those big tall ones by
Yes.
my shop?
yes,
Oh,
Right as you-
wow.
I
So
think
how
they're
do
called
they-
Claire or
How do
something.
they calculate? That's weird. Okay.
600,000.
So the
Mhm.
proposal in the new ordinance is that they would, properties that are being sold to individual owners would no longer be receiving a tax exemption. It's just
Interesting.
for apartment buildings that are renting out units.
So putting a positive spin on it.
Mhm.
I almost wore my Trust the Process sweatshirt tonight, but it was too warm today.
Can imagine
you wear a sweatshirt. Because I really was struck by the fact that this small committee who came together and with different perspectives on this, and probably Vice President Revelowski and I had the most disparate perspective on it. I felt pretty protective of the MFTE because I believe that it has built a lot of multifamily housing that we desperately need. But I also understood Jane's concerns about it. And I think a couple of things happened. One was Sound West applied for the 12-year extension and got it. And then the owner occupied, is starting to be used and that just kind of pushed it. Like, wait a minute, what do we really want this to do? This was never meant by the state to be a truly affordable housing program that was written in later. So multifamily housing is more affordable than single family housing. Building it, one reason we decided this, and we came to this, Jane and I didn't really sit down and talk about it at all. We went and talked to other people. She talked to her people. I talked to my people. And there was an article in the Kitsap Sun that showed a lot of information dumped for the community. I just thought the way it came together, and then we walk in for our last meeting, Jane and I sit down and we're saying, we think we're a lot closer on this.
Yeah,
than we
Eric thought that he's like,
Eric-
I'm gonna suggest something and you guys.
Yeah,
are gonna-"
he thinks
you're
he's
both gonna
gonna,
hate
he
it.
thinks he's gonna put his mojo magic on us, right? And Eric, you're still there, so I know you're grinning right now. Yeah. But he saw it. He saw it. He saw that we were, really in alignment. And this is the best for Bremerton right now. Maybe the MFTE, the way it was written before and adopted, was best for Bremerton then. I don't know, but I think all three of us are in agreement that this is what Bremerton needs now.
I really appreciate that our community development director helped us craft it too, to be the most fair to the community
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would love everybody to pay property taxes are the cost of living in a civilized society, but if this is the only, pardon?
That's,
Wait, I'm the only commie on
Yeah.
council here. Come on now.
all right, sorry.
But, you know,
Yeah.
we have to spur some development and it is more expensive to develop here. I would love for there to be a sunset. Currently, there is a sunset in the state law.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens because every year they change the laws. Every
And we
year.
might be built out by then.
Hey, we
Lot of
only
stuff
have
will
to,
be happening
we
in
only
my
have to
district.
build for 19,000 people and I think
Well,
we've built for at least 2,000 already. And we got 20 years to do it.
yes,
So, just really quick question, the reason the definition of low income household is in here is so that later at the top of whatever it is, section project eligibility, when it's talking about relocation assistance, that's the only time that the phrase low income household crops up.
Yes.
I think that you guys did a really good job, and kudos to you. I know you're not drinking anymore, so
Yeah.
that's a bottle of champagne for you that I'm
pouring out a
saving.
Nutella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will get to you the Nutella.
And the 8-year by far was the most popular. It was the most popular.
hardly
It's
anybody-
What it was meant to do, so
Yeah.
trust the process, people, it works.
Great.
Eric, do you have comments on this?
Well, I think you two, Jane, you did an excellent job presenting the issue, so I recommend you do it next Wednesday as well. Unless this goes on consent, I would imagine you'd put this on general business to make it known. But,
I'm happy to have this on consent.
well, okay, whatever
public.
the council decides, but Denise summed up, I went into the meeting, thought I was gonna have to strike the great compromise, and I started my routine like I do, and they both looked at me and said, no, we're in agreement, just the 8-year. It does make the most sense. It's saying to ourselves, okay, come on, this really isn't about providing low income housing. It's not effective. So what is how can we help our developers? The 8-year one has been the far the more popular, the 8-year versus the 12. And no one liked the extensions to the 20 or having an 8-year project and being able to take advantage. I won't say take advantage, to re-up and do a 12 on top of the 8. And no one liked that. That didn't sit well. We've had people come down to council and complain about that. Is everybody going to be happy about this in the public? No, I can think of one person that's going to be upset. But really, this is a good balance, and that recognizes that we still need more housing of even this housing, which is not going to be low income, but we need more housing in the city of Bremerton. We need to provide incentives. The state has given us this tool to do this. And if we don't do this, other communities that will use the program. So I think it's a valuable tool in the toolbox. So I'm grateful that we reached consensus, at least the committee, and I'm hoping the whole council agrees as well.
And Michael?
So, I'm often concerned with unintended consequences, and there were unintended consequences that we set in motion years ago. I did not know that you could do a condo, and anyways, so I all for taking out the owner occupancy, which is so funny because a lot of times you see like first time home buyer owner, like benefits and things like that. I'm 100% do this 20-year or the extensions. I'm good with that.
Good with them going
Good with them
away.
going away. Good with them going away. So yeah, I think that folks who've looked into it a little deeper, that's still a concern. And I was glad to hear Eric just acknowledge it again. Like obviously we have these growth targets, and do we fit? I guess I'm curious as when we look at the 2,000 roughly that we built and the 20 that we're trying to get to, how much of that was from the 12s or the 8s? Do we like? I
I don't have the chart, but there was
Well-
hardly any that were the 12s.
Under the 12s. Okay.
And none of the 20.
Like my big feeling on this time that, since we brought it back up has been like, this is a tool we have to build housing stock. Okay. yeah, it's maybe not the best for affordable housing, but and I was kind of like, why aren't we working on other things to get affordable housing or things like that? Why are we just worried about taking a tool out of the toolbox and throwing it at that noise out the window? So I don't know if you have a little more, if you can offer any more depth on if you've a little more than just like hardly like about meeting our meeting our targets. You know, we often talk that there's not much we can do for affordable housing or that, but this was one thing that we could do that the state allowed us to do. So
But it didn't really
But
produce
remember-
affordable housing because it was based on
Yeah.
HUD numbers that average in
Yeah.
city of Bainbridge
I
Island.
think one of the things for me is, I think that, I know people don't, will scoff at this, but like, if we build too much housing, the price goes down. The reason prices went up so high is because there just wasn't enough housing. And people are moving here because it was more affordable. I mean, it's just we have to look at all the reasons
Well, there's more than that
that it's,
too.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So 300 units up at Rydell
Mhm.
are packed full with
Yeah.
a waiting list.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, when we looked at the rentals, the rental charges, the units up at Rydell are looking like the affordable rates weren't that different.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, when we averaged that in, it wasn't.
So
Yeah.
we're kind of just thinking like, here's this, take advantage of the 8, don't pay the taxes for the 8, build housing. Don't worry yourself. Don't worry your pretty little developer deep pocket selves with like creating affordable units that aren't really affordable. Like,
Well, there's also other tools. This whole census tract, which
Oh.
is all of downtown, is an opportunity zone, right? Federal opportunity zone, which they just made permanent.
Right.
So that has huge tax incentives also for investors in it. So you would think that more of that money would be coming instead of, looking at an empty Eagles lot with weeds growing out of the foundation. But, yeah, the affordability has never been there, never has.
Not the true,
So-
not in the true.
80% of AMI is,
But it's the AMI that HUD
And then-
determines.
right.
I'm feeling pretty good about this, just, but what about like, and looking to Director Spencer sort of under it, about like, are there many things, like, when does this go into effect? Are there things in the pipeline? Are we gonna, like, is there a way that, I don't know, I don't want to screw up some housing that might be in the works or something.
Are there any housing?
Is there any,
If a project has an application in today, they're grandfathered.
Okay.
So all the projects that we're anticipating using, we have applications in. So this is irrelevant to, other than the ones that are in the pipeline that we don't know about that haven't made an application.
Yeah.
So, but the council, it's up to you when you make the effective date. If you wanted to delay and make it effective January 1 or whatever
Okay.
you want to do, you're in the driver's seat.
Alright.
So you can make it effective, but we have lots of applications in today that with our.
We're nervous about more 12-year applications.
yes, extensions,
And there's some of those that have come,
That have already come in.
that are already.
see,
Well, I'd like to make
that's
it,
why I
I
wanted
don't know,
to.
Effective
there's a piece of
ASAP.
me that says, this thing seems to be working, or I don't know, or maybe we're being taken advantage of, I don't know.
The affordability didn't seem to
The
be.
affordability.
Michael, can I comment on that? I saw Jeff.
Yeah.
So, Michael, I really see this as being a housekeeping issue. So the council's had a chance. First, we had the 8 and the 12, and then we tinkered, we add more to it. We've had a few years to see how it all works. And then we saw, and it's logical, developers took advantage of some loopholes that the council and the public aren't too pleased with. And so the marketplace has told us that by far the most popular is the 8-year. And by just having the 8-year, that means, okay, we're willing to give the tax break, but it's only for 8 years. And then it goes back on the tax roll at the enhanced value and they start paying taxes on that building. So to me, the marketplace has already said, I want the 8-year, and we're just closing the loopholes that we see about, these high-end houses getting the exemption and development's taking the 8 and then tacking on another 12, and it's not really providing what I think most of us see as truly affordable housing. So we're just closing those loopholes off and keeping the program.
Jeff, did you want to go next?
I just want to say,
Oh.
thank you. I'm on board, and not because he mansplained it. Thank you. So,
I know Jeff had his hand up, so I'd like
Yeah.
to,
No,
after
thanks,
Jeff.
appreciate it. Yeah, take my turn. One small question, then a bigger one. The small one was, the project still have to be located in the target residential areas, right? 'Cause I
Yeah.
see it was that's still in project eligibility, but I noticed that was struck out under the application for conditional certificate by the director.
What page is that?
So that would be,
what item is it?
of the packet
Are you
36,
gonna
so.
finally come up to the table and talk to us?
Hey, 3.78.070, item 4.
Yeah, so that was just a housekeeping measure that when we change codes, I try to go in and do other necessary housekeeping measures. So the application, that section just reiterates what the requirements are, and it's just a redundant section. And that just it gets a little weird in that it lists out the requirements and then says the director may approve the application and then it lists out the requirements again. So that's just been stricken. If the application meets the requirements, it'll be approved.
Okay, and the target areas are still in the requirements. Okay,
Correct.
perfect. Okay,
Under the project eligibility.
awesome.
What's the bigger question?
The bigger question is I'd like to hear from each member of the committee why to completely eliminate the 12 and 20 year instead of what had been discussed previously, which was to scale that AMI down to,
Right.
use the Bremerton factor, to ensure that if any units were created, it was truly affordable housing. And so why eliminate it completely instead of just scale it down?
Because the council discussion we had when I was trying to get a moratorium in place, there were several members who didn't want to use anything but HUD because they felt that was the only way you could actually tell somebody's income by pay stubs. And they didn't want to go with census data, which is what.
Self-reported.
I'm saying
Well,
whatever,
it's what you tell the federal government you're making every April 15th.
to clarify, whatever source of the median income is, there's the option to say, we're gonna set it to 70% of that, or 60%, or half, or whatever number. So why not scale?
Because we've had what, 2 projects that have done the 12-year. That's it, right? Is there 2 or 3?
There
Yeah.
was also significant concern over the amount of staff resources needed to review those reports. I think it's every month, maybe they have to be submitted for compliance and annually. Okay, that's not so bad then.
Chase the data down.
We just didn't see the cost benefit ratio wasn't there. It was hard to find the affordability. It wasn't that far below what the market rate.
In some
rates of
places,
workers,
it's
yeah.
actually cheaper to go rent out at Blue Ridge than an affordable apartment under the 12-year.
So, right, to reiterate, if the factor was applied, it would ensure that those affordable units would be truly affordable. Now, whether it, pencils are not out or not, so that anybody would take advantage of it, right? It's a
Well,
tough
the
analysis,
HUD
but
number
asking
goes
for it.
up every year, so every year we would be revisiting it.
Hey,
Do you
Jeff, you asked for all 3 committee members, so you're ready for my answer?
Mhm.
So my answer, well, one is the marketplace I doubt they would take advantage of the program if we had it in there, because the rents would be so low. But the biggest one, and therefore your profits would be much less. I'm not sure what the delta is, whether they would do that program or not, but the marketplace has told us probably not. The biggest thing by both almost everyone doing the 8-year anyway. The biggest thing for me, Jeff, was I wanted to offer this on an 8-year and then get these properties back on the tax roll. I don't want to offer on a 12. I don't want to offer on a 20 because I think there's much more bang for the buck for low-income housing in a different program than this. It just, I would rather say 8 years onto the tax roll, and that's how simple it is for me.
I agree.
It would be a
Well
really
done, Eric.
expensive way to provide affordable house. It has been a really expensive way to provide
Very
what we
little.
hoped was
Yeah.
affordable housing. My question is, how do we stop those 12-year extensions?
Oh, the extension?
You can't stop the ones that have current applications. Those are
Once
grandfathered.
they've applied,
It's grandfathered.
we can't stop it.
You're talking,
That's why we needed the moratorium.
well, we're talking about extensions,
Yeah, they can still,
but do they have to convert to affordable housing units?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
It's the
but
same.
no new ones could come in.
After
Once
this-
this passes.
after this passes.
So
Right, so
let's
it's-
pass it as soon as
Well, and they don't-
possible.
But is it at the director's discretion to approve?
If they meet the criteria.
Yeah,
it's
she's
voted
got
in
to.
place At the time of application, we have to approve it.
So, may I? Yeah, okay.
Sure.
When you called for the moratorium, that was how long ago?
It was May.
Were,
Yeah,
were
May.
any other extensions brought in afterwards?
One that brought that time.
Who was it?
It was in progress when you were first starting to talk about it, so.
In progress, meaning it was,
In development, it was getting submitted in here.
Like pre-development.
but,
It's-
Okay,
it's an
okay.
extension, so it's the 606 project down here. that-
oh, yeah. Are they a hotel? Wait a minute, are they the hotel?
No, the 606 is the one that sits on top of
I
city-owned
know.
land, so they pay 0 taxes as it is.
I just wanted to check in with Jeff to see if you had any recommended changes you wanted to make to entertain with us.
So if you negate not negate. I think it's a good consideration on the extra staff time in Eric's argument. If you just set those aside for a moment, there is an argument to say, keep if we really want affordable housing in the city, which we desperately need, there's an argument for keeping the 12 and 20 year with scaled rates that are truly, let's say, affordable, right?
What's the
And
percentage?
They won't.
And-
allow
Hold on.
it.
Hold on a minute, I want to hear Jeff, hold on.
Yep, thank you. I did not finish the And having it on the books now, if folks are convinced, as I just heard a lot of people say, that no one's going to take advantage of them, then they don't want to take advantage of them. If someone comes along and says, man, my project, for whatever reason, does work out with the 12 or 20 year, and they do create 20% of long-term affordable units,
Okay,
then it would be a good thing we have that on the books. If that's really what we want, is to make sure that we have set aside affordable units in the city.
so what I hear you saying is an amendment you would like to see made or to entertain and discuss is considering keeping the 12 and with the extension.
I'll say I'm not proposing a minimum. I'm putting that item for discussion, right?
Okay,
That's kind of my
okay.
question to the committee. Of
Perfect.
why eliminate it entirely instead of scale down? Because that haven't talked about.
And we have the ability to set whatever percentage we want based on the HUD. We can
Right.
say, which is what was brought to us in
Right. We
finance
could
committee
say-
3 years
we could
ago,
say
right?
You have to have 20% of units, and we could scale it so that it effectively is $1 a month, right, for rent. Right now, no one probably will take advantage of that, but I'm saying, right, we have that ability to.
What the developers in Seattle are saying now, and I know we don't want to be Seattle, but we should take lessons from what's going on, is that once the city brought it down to a much lower percentage, the developers couldn't do it. Those projects wouldn't pencil
Right.
out, which, as you say, would then
Yeah.
self kind of, but I don't want an overzealous And here I am, I understand developers' perspectives. I don't want to, oh, I'm gonna do this great thing, I'm gonna, have this 12-year extension, affordable housing, and then realize they can't do it and make money.
How is it worth an extra 4 years too? The thing is, you can't build luxury affordable housing, right? It can't be done. Department of Commerce grants allow our community partners to leverage Department of Commerce grants to buy land cheaper. They can go work with groups that might sell them land a bit cheaper and build at a less cost. Then, I mean, affordable housing usually is housing that's been modified, like the Frank Chop House. That was the old hospital. And they modified that
Mhm.
and they were able to make those into affordable units. You can't start from having to knock down the Eagles Hall and then build 20% of your units affordable.
In this market.
Not in this.
Well, but they built 2 projects in West Bremerton, brand
With the
new,
8-year.
With the
and then-
8 year.
and then
With no
sold them,
intention.
and then sold them to the housing
Oh,
authority.
With
that-
Department of Commerce grants.
Okay, but,
With Department of Commerce
Yeah.
grants is
Well,
really an
I
important.
understand.
And that's like,
but I guess what I'm saying is, why couldn't an agency get a Department of Commerce grant and build something? Because you're telling me you can't build affordable housing.
I think the ability to build affordable housing is a separate discussion.
Yeah, I feel like you're off track there.
And Jeff, we've been, the community has been really, really good about making things clear to us when they don't like it. So I think Denise has talked to, am I correct, like the development community, and Jane has talked to other communities, and everybody seems to be okay with this. So I don't think we should be looking for trouble. Like, because you're right, it's possible that like somebody will come along with a genius 12-year plan. But it hasn't happened and we can't.
Can we get in the
and then we,
packet again, the list of current MFPs? I know it's in our, email and bits and pieces, but
People who, or the,
And
right.
property tax that
Projects.
we're not getting on account of it, because those are persuasive figures.
that's not what I,
Oh, I'm sorry, I keep interrupting.
point of order on tone, please.
Sorry.
Is it worth another 12 years of loss of tax for 20% that may or may not be
I
less than workforce housing?
I don't think that you have a buy-in, but I wanted to entertain
No,
it
no,
because
yeah.
I appreciated what you were saying.
Right, it's a discussion we need to have, right? And hopefully we'll
Yeah.
get public comment on too.
I think we
So-
had it.
Yeah.
I think we had it before this ad hoc committee was established. I think we talked about all this, the first presentation was made. That's what fired me up to begin with. And then this ad, so those things were taught, I remember us talking about all that stuff.
May I ask just a kind of a final question, just of the folks here? Is it a benefit to us to have public comment on this and wait another round so we can bring this back to study session for further discussion? Is it a benefit to anybody?
why
to
can't
that?
we discuss, why can't we put it on general business? Let
Yeah.
everybody talk and then
Yeah.
we get to talk
Yeah.
and vote on it.
Just like.
I just
always.
wanted to make sure that there wasn't any lingering data that would help us inform, that would help inform us that, okay, I'm okay, I'm great with
Also,
this.
really, as a member of an ad hoc committee, that ad hoc committee did a lot of work on this. We met a couple of times, Eric was on that, we
And did an
we put our pedal to the
incredible
metal
amount
with
of
that.
research for us.
Yeah, you
And
did.
For us, it's almost like, what do you mean? We had consensus of this really diverse
I don't want to
committee.
negate that at all.
I know,
But I have to
I
ask
know,
the questions
I
because it
know you
wasn't made
do.
part of the presentation, right? If
I'm,
the part of the presentation was, and we considered this, I wouldn't ask the question, but I. but it
Then
wasn't.
make that part of your presentation.
You know
next
what?
week.
I will.
and
Yeah.
also,
It's all consent.
I know, knowing Jeff, he is already constructing his reply
Yeah.
and he'll have some points for us for consideration. And that's what I appreciate about
And
it.
I'm sure we'll.
They deliver
About
information.
the MF.
Maybe not. Okay. No, it's good. This is good.
No, I
Because
think-
unintended consequences.
exactly right. I hope everybody listening knows that the entire goal of this council, would make sure we're in a housing crisis, right? We're to have affordable working class housing.
Yes.
That's the goal. The only discussion here is the best way to achieve it, and we're down to a very picky part of it, I'd say, which is,
Mhm.
yeah.
Well,
Progress.
I'm kind of curious why, you know, it was, I believe, 3 years ago that it was brought to at least
It
some
was
of these
right as I
council
was coming
members
on to council.
to do
Yeah.
that, to try to
Wait, it was
scale it
It was
down.
brought to council. It was brought to council and it was shot down based on the proposal that DCD gave us. And we were in agreement with about a couple of points that had to do with I'm trying to remember with remind, because we did, it was brought to council, 60%.
The piece I was gonna add might fill in what you're about to say is there were so many moving pieces that we were trying to look at the
Mhm.
same time.
Mhm.
To do it, to not do it, to change this, to change that, to use this data, to use that data.
Yeah.
Like it was.
I think this simplifies it.
It definitely simplifies it.
It was sent back to finance and we talked about it again and again.
So to the,
And I think this simplifies
what
it
helped,
in a actually pretty eloquent way. So thank you very much for your work.
what helped really move me on this. Was from where you're kind of bringing up, because I was really, I got, even when when Shane started, I'm like, I don't know about the 12. It just keeps it simple. And I'm kind of all for doing this. And then maybe putting our heads together and say, is there some other way we can offer
Excuse me.
a tax break
Mhm.
for real affordable housing?
We already do.
Nonprofits don't pay anything.
Most nonprofits.
And they're the experts in providing it.
Or incentives for chronically vacant buildings.
Peninsula
Oh,
Community Health Care Property Tax.
I gotta give it to you with this, with Councilmember Rebelowski. I mean, I look back, when you do a Google search on this issue in Bremerton, Jane's name comes up a lot.
That's what I ran.
Well, before you ran for
Before I ran.
office, you were writing in about this, and I just I wanna say thank you. Because, yeah, when you first brought it up, I was like, oh, damn, don't bring that up.
I remember.
I'll second that.
Yeah, but I'm really, really glad that you did, and on the other end of that continuum, I'm really glad that you're challenging it too, Councilmember Coughlin.
I didn't think I'd be where I was
Yeah,
at tonight,
Good.
and yeah.
I think it's really great to serve on a council with members who opinions can be changed by evidence.
No, I really appreciate everything I said from day one, 2022, I'm getting on there, right?
Yeah.
We needed a really thorough analysis, discussion, as to Eric's point, we heard a lot of moving pieces on this, right? That's what I was arguing for back then was, hey, right, and it goes to you said, we can't as a city be changing our mind every other year, right? That lack of stability
Right.
is a problem when we want to have housing in the city, because we need housing in the city, so. I do appreciate, honestly, the deep dive and what we really needed for a long time, which is really digging into the data on this, so absolutely appreciate that.
Anybody else have any other comments?
General business, let's go.
finally, an agenda with a general business item on it.
Hey, whoop, whoop.
Does everybody go for general business?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, do you think it doesn't seem to be any point putting it on consent.
No,
No,
This is a
this is too.
large piece of legislation that's.
Yeah,
yeah,
Okay.
it needs to be general.
yeah.
And
Okay.
if I could, neither Garrett or I can be here next week because we're away at conference. So if there's something that you need, you need to tell me.
I don't need anything.
I figured you have it covered, but I just wanted to let you know that neither of us will be here.
Okay,
Have a good conference.
thank you. All right, I'm gonna